What's up, Pirates? Ray Talks here with Awaken TCG, and today we have the Magellan Locals video. So today, honestly, I want to start off by saying, sorry, I want to apologize. Today was supposed to be Black Luffy, but Jim is not in town, and so he wasn't at the local today, and he actually does play a bit of Black and actually Black Luffy, and so he wanted to, be the one to take that deck and, hopefully win the locals. So the runner-up was Magellan, so we have a Magellan deck list coming up here a week earlier. It would probably won next week anyway, so next week is going to be booked, so there's going to be no poll this week, but let's go ahead and get right into the video. So I'm going to start off with our defensive cards here. A Domino, just the 1k counter, Impel Down, 2-drop blocker, right? So we run 4 of these. It is great for late game, being able to try to set up lethal and then just boom, pop 2 of these on the board, protect your units, protect your life, and then go for game next turn. Just a really good card in general. Obviously, it is searchable as well. Next up, let's talk about our 2Ks. We have 3 Shikis. I was debating on running a Khalifa or not, but I ended up not going for it, and I just, want to keep it consistent. Neither are Impel Down, so it really doesn't matter. They're not searchable, so just if you want to slot in a Khalifa instead of some of these Shikis, I mean, go ahead. I like the trigger. There's situations where you could technically win off that trigger. X-Drake, sometimes I do see myself playing this card here. Not searchable, but it is a great 2K with an amazing effect. If you have nothing else in your hand, you're bricked, or you don't have a better play, drop X-Drake, make them trash a card. That's 5 Dawn for one of their cards. It's a resource, right? And then obviously the best 2K in this deck is Little Sadie. Not only is it searchable, it also plays one of your Jailer Beast, which is a insane turn 3 play. We have 1 Elephant's Marchu. This is more of a tech card. We're only going to run 1 of these. I think anything more than that is troll because it is too excessive. It's a brick. On curve against Law, Zoro, this thing is pretty amazing. But other than that, I mean, you can still KO a blocker later on, but the thing is you ramp a Dawn. So if you wait too long, this is 4 Dawn to kill a 2-drop. Doesn't feel good, obviously. Let's go ahead and skip these here. We run things like Gum Gum and Jet Gatling, which we're going to keep at 2. So a card like this can just be thrown away at the end of the day. But I would definitely keep this at 1. This is a little tech card I like to run. 2 Gum Gum Jet Gatlings. This card is just amazing. Tempo swing through the roof. More often than not, you'll have at least 1 break in hand you can throw away with this. Yeah, amazing card. The tempo swing that this gives is literally what this deck actually needs. And so, hitting a tempo play off of that, it just feels amazing. We're going to be running 2 Judgment of Hell. You could do 3 Judgment of Hell, 2 Bog. I want to keep it at 2 because I'm already running 2 over here. And then this, I really like the ramp effect. So we keep 3 Bogwas, handy dandy. Good 4K counter. Ramps you a Dawn early on. If you're getting rushed down, this could help. Trigger here is amazing. Now let's go ahead and get to some of our offensive cards. Another tech card. I don't run this as a 4 of. It is a brick. It could be good in some cases, so I run a 1 of. If I see it, especially turn 1, amazing, right? If not, that's fine. I'm keeping it out of 1 of. You can throw away for some counter. Keeping it keep it consistent. Another 1 of Kaido. This card can steal you games. Catch people off guard. KOs a 6 or less, and it gives it rush. Right, that's a 10k swing to somebody. Make sure Magellan is 6k that swing or that turn, and then on top of that, you can add a Dawn to the Magellan, and you can swing 7k that turn. Another 1 of this Uta here. I've played a lot of matches with Magellan. This is probably one of the decks I'm most comfortable with out of all that I've played on the local series. Magellan loves to keep a full board with plays like Little Sadie into a Jailer Beast, which we will get into right now. You fill up the board pretty quickly, right? Your searchers you're dropping, whether it's X-Drakes, blockers, whatever. You like to have a full board, and if not, pretty close to it. And so if you get this and you have a really, good turn, this here is amazing because not only does it give your whole board plus 1k, it gives your leader plus 1k as well for the entire turn. So just off this effect alone, this becomes a 7k, and then on your opponent's turn, it becomes a 6k leader, which is pretty huge. Another one of a lot of one ofs here, but honestly, the meta is changing, and a lot of people are starting to run a lot of one ofs, and they could be very useful, especially in the right matchups, and if you see them, on time. So Shiki here, this card right here, sometimes, obviously, you guys are going to see later on in the game, I didn't get to use it, but it is a good card. It has a 1k counter, and on top of that, if you play Magellan on curve, you go down to 4 Dawn, and then your next turn you're at 6. If you don't have a Magellan to follow it up, you can play this for 6, which would technically be on curve, which just feels amazing, right? Because then the turn after that, you're gonna be able to swing with this, and then your opponent cannot KO it through battle. We're gonna run 2 Kings. 2 Kings here. These cards are amazing, especially in the Law matchup. Pretty decent in Zoro. These Kings here are definitely tech cards, so I'm just keeping them at 2. We have 2 Queens. I would have liked 4, but I only have 2 at my disposal. So we made a couple of changes. Definitely worked out though. Queen is an amazing card. Cycle 2 cards, draw 1, or cycle 2 cards and trash 1. So you draw 2, trash 1. Amazing card. So we run 2 polys. I wasn't able to get the 6 drop. So yeah, I have the 7 drop kings. I wasn't able to get the 6 drop kings in time for the local. They weren't near me. I do have some, but they just weren't near me at the time. And so we're running 2 polys. These actually came in handy so much. I would actually consider actually running at least one of these in my deck. 2 does seem pretty good though. On turns where you could play a king and get rid of something, you can just play this instead. As long as you're at 7 Dawn, play this, get rid of a 4, and now you're ramping to 8 going to 10. Instead of playing king on curve at 6, Dawn minus, okay, now you're down again. And so, but maybe, you could combo something where you like king into this. I'm not sure, but these came in handy, and you guys will see later on. Obviously, the staple for Magellan, you have to run the 4 every time. This card is just way too good to not run a 4 of. It is your engine. It is what makes this deck insane, messing with your opponent's curve. And it's just overall a 10 out of 10 card. So we're running 3 Minocolas, blocker 4/5. Jailer Beast can be played off of Sadie. So you play this turn 3, boom, you can follow it up same turn here. Tempo plays, like I said, combos off of with Uta really well. And then we have 3 of the, and then on KO these Minocolas, Rampadon. So here, 3 5s. If you don't have any other plays, like you don't have a little Sadie, you can just drop this on curve on your second turn going first. Boom, an amazing card that dies and then has the same effect as the queen. You draw 2, trash 1. So you can cycle your hand and basically have a better hand. And then here we're running 3 of the banish. So these here are on KO Rampadon, but on top of that, they have banish. So this is really good for the yellow matchup. These cards right here, attach 2 Dawn, swing 7 at yellow. He's either going to give you 2 cards or banish, potentially losing a trigger. So these here in the yellow matchup are pretty insane. Then we have, to finish off the list, for Honeyball, it's our searcher. Easy, just searches our Magellan. If we don't have one, can search out a domino if we need a blocker. It can search out, honestly, a lot of good things. Any of these cards here, it can search out Sadie's, which are 2Ks. It can even search out Impel Down. So like turn 1, let's say you don't have a Magellan in hand, you go here, boom, you get this. Next turn, all right, boom, play that. Look for your Magellan. Because the big thing with this deck is you want to have a Magellan on curve. It'll make the deck unstoppable. But that is going to be this list. Let's go ahead and get into some gameplay. So starting off, game 1, we had an Arlong. This is one of our buddies at our locals that likes to just bring different decks in, try them out. Doesn't ever go crazy with like meta decks. And so my turn 1, I go Honeyball for 1 Dawn, search a domino blocker, and then my opponent passes for his first turn. So my turn 2, I swing 5, he takes, he gets a trigger, it's a Chew. No target for the Chew effect, but he decides to play it, and then I go with the Rhino there. I forgot his name. My opponent's turn 2, he swings, and then plays a Katakuri for 4, checks my top life, puts it at the bottom. I do have more life than him, so then he goes and swings for 6 again at lead, so I take. Now we're both at 3 life, and so he passes. So my turn 3 coming up, obviously you know what the big play is here, so we're going to swing 5 at lead. he takes, and then he actually gets a trigger, a killer trigger to KO my unit, which was brutal. But at least I get to cycle my hand. So I draw 2, trash another one of the rhinos. I play Magellan for 5, Don -1, and then I swing 6 at, I think I swing 6 at lead there. He blocks for 2K. I go ahead and pass turn over. So now it is his turn 3, I believe. But he's only at 5 Don. So then he swings 6 at lead. I give him a 2K. He swings 5 at lead. I give him a 1K. And then he does a soul pocus. I decide to trash life off of a soul pocus. Me hoping that he was going to play some more units, establish a bigger board. He used soul pocus, which isn't the best card. I definitely told him afterwards that if he wants to make this deck work, he could definitely look for switching that up. So I go 6K at the Katakuri. He takes, lets it die. I play Honeyball. I think at this point I was searching for, I forgot what I was searching for. Maybe another Magellan. Oh no, I already had it in hand. So I play another Magellan, Don -1. I swing another 6. And at this point, it's looking real rough for him. I mean, obviously, since, Arlong released, this is one of his main issues, right? It's just, since his effect plays resources out of your hand, eventually you just run out of resources, which is kind of brutal. You do get a bigger board quickly, but at the cost of, now your hand is really small, so you can't even protect your units if you swing with them. It just gets, it becomes a mess. So then he swung 7. He swung 7 at lead, I believe. Yeah. Oh no, he swung 7 at the Magellan, but I wanted to keep him alive, so give him 3 cards. I knew he was still gonna be at 6 Dawn, so I should have, I was fine. Anyways, my next turn, I play Polly, ramp to 8 Dawn, KO his blocker, and then I just swing for, I think I KO the killer, yeah, and then I just swing for game. I didn't expect it to be so quick of an ending, as you can see there. But he ended up having all bricks in his hand. Anyways, that was game 1. It was super quick. He kind of just like bricked. Now this is game 2. I ended up going first. I lost dice roll, but the Katakuri wanted to go second. And so my turn 1 is I play a Hanya ball. I search a little Sadie and pass. And then my opponent's turn 1 is Charlotte Pudding, searches a Thunderbolt. And then now we go back to my turn 2. I think I had a pretty decent turn 2 here. So I swing 5. He takes, no trigger. And then I put 3 down on the Hanya ball just to be aggressive. Obviously you want to burn down the Katakuris. Katakuris, when they get rushed down, put themselves in positions where they can't really play their game, right? They can't 10 mom on curve because, you threaten lethal. They can't, it's just stuff like that where it's like, oh, you put them in rough spots for them to have to do something else other than the turn they actually want to play. So my turn 3 is coming up. My opponent forgot to swing at the Hanya ball with the pudding, so that is a little misplay there. Yep. You guessed it. I'm Magellan, swing 6 at lead, Don -1 for both players. And I think, honestly, this matchup becomes a lot easier if you at least get 1 Magellan. If you get 2 Magellans, it's GG. The Katakuri can never play his big bodies, and it gets real rough. I mean, because at the end of the day, you're stalling, like a whole half turn. And then if you play 2 Magellans, you're stalling a whole extra turn. So by then, you should have enough time to, rush down the Katakuri. He swung 7 at life. I took. He plays a pudding to search, and then he goes 5K to lead with the pudding. So it is now my next turn. I go Hanya ball. I tried to look for Magellan. Unfortunately, did not find it. So we go ahead and grab a blocker. And our board is still looking pretty decent here. Hanya ball swings at the pudding. That's a free body. Then we go 5 for X-Ray because I didn't have a better play. And so my opponent just trashes the Thunderbolt, which is completely fine. Now I know for late game he doesn't have that Thunderbolt. I swing 6. I swing another 6. But he blocks that one out, and I go ahead and pass. So I mean, this game is shaping up to be pretty good in my favor. My opponent is barely at 7 Don, I believe. Yeah, 7 Don. So he plays the Big Mom, the 7 drop. I just go ahead and trash the life because I feel like if you ever have to give life, you already lost the game, especially against Katakuri. So I poly KO his blocker, and then I just swing everything I have at his lead, whittle him down, kill his other pudding, make him, trash that hand size. And so here my opponent is at 9 Don. He's still not even at that 10 Don mark, even going second. And just stalling that half a turn, that 1 Don, makes it so crucial. Because if he 10 moms here, I'm in a bad spot. But since he can't 10 mom, like obviously I don't know if he has it or not, but since he can't 10 mom this turn, it saves me a whole turn of aggro. And then by the time he can play it, it just makes it real rough for him to stay alive. And so he swung 7. I take. He checks his top life. And then he's debating what he's going to do here with his Don. Because, I mean, this is a rough turn for him. So he definitely needs to think about what he's going to do. All right, so he Thunderbolts the Poly. I'm not sure if that was the right play. It's definitely an aggressive play, but with so, little cards in hand, I'm not sure if that was the right play. But, I just go for game here. He gets a Sanji blocker. So I would have most likely would have had a game, but, he gets a Sanji blocker. So in that case, I'm like, you know what? Just going to play a little bit defensive here. I think I have a good amount of events in hand to where I can, stay alive another turn. And on top of that, I do have a domino blocker that I know I grabbed earlier in the game. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop that. So I swing 7. My opponent blocks. And then I play a domino and another rhino just for more pressure. So I have an extra swing the next turn. I know for a fact that with 1 life and a blocker, there's no way I can lose. Even if he does something like Amande, rests my blocker, goes for a game, right? And so he just 10 moms and then goes for a game himself. I give him a 2K on his 5K swing. I block the 8K, and then he almost had it. I did have a Gum Rain and a 2K in hand, and I think the rest of my hand was just bricks. So I actually barely had it, luckily enough. And so I swing 5. I did misplay swinging 5 again with lead, because if he gets a trigger, then it would have been all bad for me. But luckily he didn't, so I ended up taking that game pretty swiftly. It was a close game. I think having the 1 Magellan always does it for me. So, and then here we go into the finals. I'm off curve, unfortunately. So my Zoro turn 1 goes Izo, grabs a Jozu. Being off curve definitely feels wonky on Magellan. You always want to get first. So turn 1, I pass. His turn 2, he swings 5, I take. And then he plays a Zoro for 3 and passes. So now my turn 2, I'm at 4 Don. Still feels kind of wrong. Like, you just never want to like be on this off curve. I don't know. It feels weird. Anyways, I swing 5, he takes, and then I play a Minacola. And then now it is my opponent's turn. He swings 5. I block for 1. He plays a Marco on curve, doesn't have a target, and then he passes. And so now it's my turn. Now I can finally play Magellan. If I have one here, I think I do. But yeah, I'm definitely going to play aggro here. I want the ramp with the Minacola, so I'm definitely going to swing with that as well. I am first, or no, I'm second, but so I swing 5, he takes. I'm Magellan. And then I swing 7 at life, and he takes. So he took 2 life pretty early on. I'm hoping that he, KOs my Minacola for the fact that I can ramp an extra Don, but he avoids it, and then I think he just ends up playing just more aggro. So he is playing 1 Don onto his Zoro. He swings 6 at my leader. Debating if I want to block out or not. Because in my head, I'm like, okay, if I can just play a little defensive here and then be super aggro again. If he avoids my Mino Cola, then I can probably win this game. But unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of 2K counters or counters at all. And so I had to take that second 6K. And now he's swinging 7 at me. And so definitely can't block with just counter. But as you can see, I have a Gum Gum Rain. So I'm debating if I want to Gum Gum Rain or not. I probably could have just taken instead of using my Gum Gum Rain so early on. Because at the end of the day, he was swinging life, right? So he's at 2 life. I could have went down to 2. That was probably a slight misplay. I don't know how much that would have changed the outcome of this match, but yeah, he swings again, goes super aggro, and I think I have to end up taking anyways. Yeah. So he swung a 6 at me. Kind of unfortunate, super aggro, and now at this point, I'm forced to clear his board, or I basically just die next turn. Definitely stuck on what to do here. Because he has a huge hand. So I think going aggro at his leader is never the option, because he can obviously just take, and then he has a super big hand. So he for sure can block. And obviously he has 2 Dawn up. And so that just tells me he at least has one event, right? There's no way he leaves 2 Dawn up and he's bluffing. So yeah, I just go ahead and go kill his board, try to minimize the damage. I swing 6 at lead. He blocks for 2, and then I'm at 7 Dawn, so I poly. Rest 2 Dawn, ramp 1, KO his Zoro. I don't think he versus purple that often, and so he didn't know what poly did, so he's like, oh, hold on, let me read the card. But yeah, I'm still not in a terrible position. I'm not in a terrible position by any means, right? It is my opponent's turn 4, so he is at 8 Dawn. Oh, no, he's at 9 Dawn. 9 Dawn. Turn 4. No, his turn 5. Turn 5. It's his turn 5 at 9 Dawn. So he swings 7. I block out. I have 3 cards left in hand. He's asking me, yo, what does the Mina Cola do? Again, I might have maybe I should have taken the life and kept the counter, because I feel like those are moments where, I can save that counter for something else. Like here, now he's asking me, oh, what does the Mina Cola do? Oh, it just ramps me 1 Dawn, right? And then I just let it go for free, basically. If I would have just taken the 7 to life, paid 1K counter to keep the Mino Cola alive, he would have had to swung again at it, wasting his 3rd attack. But yeah, I mean, this is just a matchup thing, right? I kind of want to just play this matchup more to learn. I had played Magellan previously in the past, so I was semi-comfortable going into these matches. But at the end of the day, Zoro's just Zoro. Zoro's just Zoro, and he was doing his thing. As you can see there, I cleared the board, and in a matter of 1 turn, he has so much aggro, and he gets to replenish the board like if nothing happened while keeping hand size, right? So it's brutal. What do I do here? Oh, I play a Hanya ball. I'm not sure what I was searching for. Maybe like a blocker, or I don't think I was searching for another Magellan, but yeah, I didn't find what I wanted. I don't believe so. I see a blocker there. Oh, I'm debating if I want a blocker. So my 2 options was a little Sadie or a domino blocker, but I figured, I'm like, well, he has 1,000 cards in his hand. If he has a Fire Fist, he's just gonna use it anyway, because I already had 1 domino blocker in hand. So I'm like, okay, if I grab another blocker and I double blocker and he has Fire Fist, it's GG. So I ended up going with the 2K, because I'm gonna play 1 blocker anyway, and so playing 1 blocker anyway means he has to commit a Fire Fist, commit a Marco, commit a Jet Pistol, commit something to KO the first blocker anyway. So I'm like, you know what? I'd rather have a 2K in hand than get both of my blockers blown up. And so I go 6, and he lets the buggy die. Or I go 5, and he lets the buggy die. Now I'm swinging 6 at... Was I swinging 6 at the Marco? He blocks for 1. I go 8 at lead. He takes. And then I play a Rhino and a Domino blocker, leaving 2 Dawn up. Definitely bluffing the Judgment of Hell, which I did not have in hand. And now we're getting to the end here. It's getting real tense. He's at 1 life, but he does have a lot more cards in hand than me. So he's thinking on what to Fire Fist. So he did have it right. So he kills the Hanya ball, and he kills the Domino blocker. So I made the smart move, taking the 2K from the Hanya ball search. He swings 6. I block for 2. Oh no, he's swinging 5, but I only have 2Ks in hand, so I'm blocking. I'm blocking out. I'm debating if I want to block out this last 5K here, which I did. So then he misplays here and he goes 7 at life because I had no cards in hand, and then he goes 8 at lead, but I top lifed a Thunder Bagua, which saved me that turn. Could have been, very brutal for him. And so he has 3 cards in hand. Oh no, 4? 5? Damn, he still has heck of cards in hand. Anyways, I swing 5. He gives me a 1K. Make sure I don't get jet pistoled. I swing 7. And I still have 8 done active. He gives me a 2 and a 1. Then I swing 9 at life. I was going to swing 9-11, but I could have done 10-10. But he had it. So he had 3 2Ks in hand. His last 3 cards were 2Ks. All right, Pirates, thank you guys so much for sticking until the end of this video. We love doing this series because, it gets us to play new decks, and basically we learn new things, and it's just fun. It's really fun not having to always take meta to locals and just being able to play around. So we do really appreciate recording the series for you guys. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. The Black Luffy video will be out next week. Today you guys got Magellan, so I apologize. You guys will get Black Luffy next week. Make sure to like this video, comment down below, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.